we're right. This you called it a perfect pop album, and I had forgotten. I have songs. Some of these songs are on playlists that I listen to regularly, but I listened to it as an album a week or two ago, and you're right. It is perfect, and so much more perfect than I remembered. And what you're talking about them being, exactly what you're saying, passionate. It's new, and everything is so exciting, and you really hear that on the album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And it's like, and that's what I think why it's resonated with people then and now. It's
Mhm.
just like, it is so exciting. I mean, you could, you listen so much music in the early 80s that I still love. It's very meditative and very dour, and
Mhm.
it's for good reason. Like we said, we talk about The Cure. All of the early 80s records were so gloomy, and I love them because they're gloomy. And Duran Duran had their moodiness too, but there is something about Rio that's just, it's ecstatic. They were trying to capture that feeling of,
Yeah.
its possibility and its escapism and its excitement about their own lives. But I think what's also so brilliant about the record is that, a lot of bands, they'll write about, I'm on the road. This is very exciting. You can tell it's very literal. And, Simon is such an interesting vocalist and lyricist that he channeled all that stuff into these kind of, I think someone in the book, called them kind of surreal lyrics. And I would totally agree with that. They're kind of abstract and surreal. And so they're sketches, they're poetic sketches more than anything. Reading into the lyrics, I'm just like, I'm still trying to figure out some of these things. You can tell the gist of them, but it's, 100% you can't see, but it is exciting. And it's so listenable because of that then, it's
Yeah.
so fun. You put it on, you want to get on the dance floor. There's just so, that's why I think people still like it too, because it, reminds them of
Mhm.
happy times, but it's, also just a really listenable album too.
You forget about the musicianship though, because you watch them, you're transfixed with their video, on their videos, but they're players. They are
Hmm.
musicians. They're really good.
And that's, I think, another thing, and that came up when I was doing the book, and I talked to John Taylor, Roger Taylor, Nick Rhodes, and also Andy Taylor for the book. And it came up, I think, when talking to John, is that everybody on that album, every musician, had their corner. Everybody had their parts, and everybody was really, kind of at their kind of peak. And you really hear that. But I think the brilliant thing about it is that they didn't play over each other. The arrangements are
Yeah.
so good. You think of a song like New Religion that has that, which is actually probably I think it's, in the course of doing the book, it kind of rose to the top as being my favorite song on
Mhm.
the record. But it's like everybody has these really interesting parts, from the kind of the spooky keyboards, and then you have the guitars that kind of come in, and the bass line and drums and everything. But they're all done in such a way that the arrangements are perfect. They're all perfectly balanced. And a lot of bands, they would be crashing into each other, and it would be kind of loud and stuff, but it's all very meticulous and deliberate. And you hear that especially on Rio, I think, especially throughout the whole album.
Dave, do you have a favorite song on this? Oh, sorry. I know you want to
Well,
ask a
yeah.
question.
Well, actually, I mean, I was just going to touch on, it was a record, and I love that. I
Yeah.
think the reason it's good is I kind of didn't like the CD era, because everyone kind of wanted to fill it up with 70 minutes worth of music.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a good thing for an album. This has 9 songs on it, and I love how it just it kicks off with Rio, which is just like you said, this is an adventure. Immediately as it starts off, like, oh my God, we're going for a journey. And actually, I had actually written something, like, as I was looking at the lyrics, like, one of my favorites was, it was almost remind me of like a Springsteen lyric, where it's like, um hey, now, look at that, did he nearly run you down at the end of the drive? The lawmen arrive, you make me feel alive, alive, alive. I mean,
Yeah.
that's epic.
Mhm.
And you want to do like that Springsteen thing, like, alive, alive, alive,
Mhm.
you know
And like when
um,
that song crests at that line too, you think about it, it's just like, it's perfect. Like it's just crescendoing and crescendoing. And you're right, I mean, before, this is, I think before, you would have like the beat drop on like songs, but it crests, and then it just like lays into like the end of the song. Like it's perfect. It's just, yeah, the dynamics of that song especially are just perfect.